For 3 years, children and women mysteriously vanished from Nithari village. No traces, no bodies, just chilling silence. The police ignored desperate families, brushing off their pleas. But in December 2006, a horrifying discovery behind a lavish bungalow sent shockwaves across the nation. Human remains stuffed in plastic bags. What unfolded next was beyond imagination. Kidnappings, brutal murders, and even cannibalism. The truth was more sinister than anyone could have ever imagined. Who were the monsters behind these gruesome acts? And how did they get away with it for so long? In 2003, something strange started happening in a village called Nithari in India. Several children and women living there began disappearing without a trace. This village was located within the city of Noida, India. The families of these missing women and children were extremely worried. They repeatedly reached out to the police for help, but the authorities did not assist them. In fact, the police even refused to register complaints from many people. Under immense pressure from the locals, the police eventually launched an investigation. However, it was of no use. The police failed to uncover anything, and the whereabouts of the missing women and children remained unknown. Time passed, and 3 years went by. More children and women from the village continued to disappear, but no one knew where they were vanishing. However, the case took a shocking turn in December 2006. A man from Nithari village arrived at the police station. His daughter had also gone missing, but this time he shared a crucial piece of information that would solve the mystery. He told the police that on the day his daughter disappeared, he had visited a particular house. This house was not just any ordinary residence. It was a luxurious bungalow located in an upscale area near the village. The address was B5, Sector 31, Noida. The house belonged to a man named Moninder Singh. Moninder Singh was a wealthy businessman who owned a transport company. He had no shortage of money. His wife lived in the Indian city of Chandigarh, while Moninder resided in his Noida bungalow with his servant, Surinder Suri. The man told the police that on the day his daughter went missing, he had visited Moninder Singh's bungalow for some work. However, despite this information, the police still did not take any action on his complaint. Frustrated and desperate to find his daughter, the man approached a senior police officer. This time, his complaint was heard. The officer also noticed a disturbing pattern. Women and children had been disappearing from Nithari village, yet the local police had done nothing to find them. This time, the missing girl's mobile phone was traced, leading the police directly to Surinder Suri, Moninder Singh's servant who lived with him in the bungalow. It turned out that Surinder had been calling the missing girl, and records showed that they had spoken on the day she disappeared. With this evidence, the police arrested Surinder Suri. However, he was quickly released on bail. But the story didn't end there. Just a few months later, in December 2006, a shocking discovery was made, one that would shake the police and the entire nation to its core. Behind Moninder Singh's bungalow, there was a drain, and what the police found there was horrifying. Human skeletons were discovered, packed inside plastic bags. Now, the police had no excuses left. There was no way to ignore the case any longer. They immediately arrested Moninder Singh and his servant Surinder Suri, and soon, the full gruesome story was revealed. During police interrogation, Surinder Suri confessed. He admitted that he had been kidnapping children and young girls from Nithari village, but the most shocking part was that he claimed he was doing it on Moninder Singh's orders. According to Surinder, he would bring the victims to the bungalow, where Moninder assaulted them and then murdered them. The police were stunned by this revelation, but what Surinder said next was unbelievable, something that shook the entire country. He confessed that he and Moninder were cannibals. They didn't just kill the children and women, They ate their flesh. These two monsters had murdered and consumed more than 19 victims. It also came to light that Moninder bribed the local police to keep them silent, which explained why so many complaints had been ignored for years. As soon as this horrifying truth was exposed, the people of Nithari village erupted in anger. Furious villagers attacked the local police station and started massive protests. Within no time, the case became national news across India. Under intense pressure, the police were finally forced to act. They also arrested Moninder's housemaid Maya, who was suspected of helping lure young girls and children into the bungalow. Another disturbing possibility emerged. The victims' organs, such as kidneys, might have been sold on the black market. This case wasn't just about murder and cannibalism. It might have been linked to an organ trafficking ring as well. If the police had taken action earlier, many lives could have been saved, but that didn't happen. Eventually, the police raided Moninder Singh's house in Chandigarh, where his wife and son lived. They also searched his farmhouse, but nothing suspicious was found there. The case continued for 2.5 years, and in February 2009, both Moninder Singh and Surinder Suri were sentenced to death. It was one of the most shocking and unprecedented cases ever seen in an Indian court. But the story didn't end there. In September 2009, an Indian High Court overturned Moninder Singh's death sentence. According to police reports, he was not considered the main accused. Instead, the entire blame was shifted onto his servant, Surinder Suri. This raised serious questions. How could Moninder Singh not know that his servant was murdering and eating human flesh inside his own bungalow? It was hard to believe. While Surinder Suri's death sentence remained, Moninder Singh's punishment was lifted. However, 2 years later, in 2011, the Supreme Court of India reinstated Moninder Singh's death sentence. Both men were now once again waiting for their execution. Years passed, and both of them remained in jail for 12 years. Then, in 2023, the case resurfaced once again. This time, in the Allahabad High Court, both Moninder Singh and Surinder Suri were released. Their death sentences were overturned once again. The court ruled that there was no solid evidence against them and stated that they had confessed under police pressure. This decision sparked widespread criticism. The families of the poor victims, those whose children and daughters had been brutally murdered, had already fought for justice for years. How long could they continue their legal battle? And so today, both Moninder Singh and Surinder Suri are free men. A movie titled Sector 36 was also released on Netflix, which is based on this incident.